Wait, nobody told me about all the earlier free services. What am I missing out on? Orville Rettenbacher and L. Ron Hubbard have fused into a supermare! It's not my Dearborn Public Library. Don't put this at my feet. A History of New England as told through the eyes of Michigan. This is an instructional film, so it'll teach us how to settle New England. The end. Oh.
It is 1626.
Didn't we fly over this and soaring over California?
Coast, there are several new settlements.
Every July, peas grow
It's a small
here.
community numbering scarcely more than 30 people.
Still more than attended Jimmy
Robert
Fallon's
Grant
To
here is
Nightmares.
a fisherman. He built this bark wigwam with Albert Sims,
Inventor of
and Jason
Simlish.
Conway. As yet, there are few women in Nomkeg.
Soon to be renamed Man
The
Cave.
beds are hung up like this every morning.
You gonna tell us
The
why?
fires dying out is a rare occurrence.
A secret unlockable cutscene.
Over at the Fox dugout nearby,
Young Lizzie Borden gets her first taste of axe wielding.
Mr. Fox is hewing newly felled bird.
Well, he's
That's
brushing
something that
it
has
with
to
an
be
axe.
done in carving a home out of a wilderness. Lucinda Fox is grinding Indian corn.
With the corpse of a
Important
catawampus.
to all the settlers. While Brother Oliver
Cousin
milks
to the
Valley
Bradys.
Goat, a highly prized possession brought from England.
Sadly, it later wandered off to chew on a stick of
And now,
dynamite.
Jason has laid the new fire and must borrow a live ember to light it.
The live ember will be voiced by Billy Crystal in the American dub.
Here he is at the Fox place.
It looked taller in Die Hard.
On your fire for some careless bachelors, John? That there would, Jason. And you'll be welcome.
They talk like MRAs commenting on a woman's negative review of a Joker
The
movie.
Nomkeg settlers share dangers together, and they gladly share comforts too.
But they don't share anything in between.
How seems Master Robert today, Mistress Fox?
I fear me there is little change.
And I can't stand him.
In these many days.
Yeah, that kid looks sick.
When you're well again, laddie, you can hunt deer with Jason.
Oh, wait, I'm playing Jason. Can we do a second take? What do you mean,
The
no?
fireplace doesn't always give adequate heat.
Yeah, but the kid has a
especially when
fever.
there is
Heat's not what he
sickness in the
needs.
house. Sickness that may be very serious.
He'll feel better once Peter Falk comes over to read to
Today,
him.
as always, there's a full schedule of work ahead for the bachelors
And the Bobby
entire
Soxers.
community. It's time for Mr. Fox and Oliver to set out for the fields.
The fantastic Mr. Fox and Oliver and Company crossover we
Their
didn't know we
clearing is just
needed.
Over beyond this ridge of rocks.
A good place to hide from
There's a
Crebain
good
from
view of
Dunland.
The ocean from the ridge. And Mr. Fox and Oliver are glad to see their neighbors.
Oof,
hauling
traffic
in
jam at the
plentiful
Davy Crockett
catch of
canoes.
fish.
One day,
Food
son,
from
this
the
ocean
sea,
will all be
food
yours.
from the land. The settlement will need both when winter comes. The first corn crop is coming along well.
Inedible, but
Thanks
well.
partly to the Indians who abandoned some cleared land in these parts, even before the settlers came.
They left before we got here, we swear.
The sight of ripening corn makes John Fox feel confident.
Sorry, I meant
It makes him eager
inadequate.
to clear the ground for larger plantings. It isn't easy, this clearing of a wilderness.
Why does destroying nature
It
need to be
isn't
so
easy removing
hard?
the stones from the rocky New England soil.
Rocky and soil,
But it makes a
Winkle.
difference when you're building something new.
Something new on land that was definitely left willingly for you.
Jason here,
Fighting
repairing
Freddy.
the roof of the bark wigwam, had a far more comfortable house in Dorchester, England.
More like
But this
Dorkchester.
is a new home in a new land. It makes a difference.
Not a positive difference, but
Albert Sims, who grows and harvests his own tobacco,
a crop that
takes
never
as much
hurt anyone.
satisfaction in his small crop as do the big plantation owners of Virginia.
Let's compare our heroes to some of the worst humans in American history.
Thus, in the field and in the home, the Nomkeg settlers carry on day in and day out.
Turns out this is just M. Night Shyamalan's The
Scant
Village.
Food supply must be carefully doled out. And with tallow scarce, pitch pine splints are fashioned by hand for candles.
I can't believe white people
Even
used to
when
be
the long
even
day's
less
work is
interesting.
done, there may be heavy burdens to bear, but there is faith and gratitude.
Our Father,
How's it hanging?
please thee to set us upon this alien shore.
It's an alien planet. That's why he's speaking in a Shatnerian cadence.
Hath granted us shelter and our daily bread.
Unfortunately, we're
For all thy
gluten-free.
many blessings, our hearts are humbly grateful.
Yeah, grateful,
We
sure,
beseech
whatever.
thee, if it be thy will,
Wednesday Adams?
that in thy great mercy thou wilt spare this, our little son.
But only if you feel like it. We can always make another one.
This is the Nomkeg of 1626. close by the New England coast, where the waves surge against the shore.
I guess that's true of every coast.
3 years pass.
Oh no, crustaceans is starting. I gotta hide from Agatha.
Nonkeg is now called Salem.
Basin is now Chinook.
A number of craftsmen from England have joined the growing settlement. These sawyers are cutting the timber of the New England forest.
Though their mines are not for rent.
Strong, straight boards for houses. Others are making shingles for some of the better homes.
Infect the good homes with shingles to bring them down to the bad homes level.
And shaped by skillful artisans.
Ooh, Conan the Barbarian's
The
on.
newly built brickworks, clay dug from the earth nearby is ground and mixed and moistened, and then placed into molds.
Into moles?
Sized and shaped by the wooden forms, the blocks of clay will be dried in the sun.
Will
and
Vinton
later
just
hardened
tearing up at the
into
murder of all that perfectly good clay.
bricks for chimney and hearth and fireplace.
And discount bricks for throwing at Homestar.
Nearby, the newly arrived blacksmith
Is shot
beats
by
out
Buford
nails
Tannen.
for the ever more numerous houses.
Between forging rings for the Elven Kings
Iron
under
for
the sky.
nails and the coal for the forge have to be brought from England.
But the blacksmith is borrowed from
The
Knott's
actual
Berry Farm.
manufacture can now be accomplished here. Even so, to the local supply must be added nails of English make.
Then Acme will send that anvil to an unlucky coyote. Hey, careful or you'll break a nail. Oof, can you get tetanus from watching a film?
Yes.
That thatched roof
building is
cottage
going
looks ripe
forward
for
here in the
burnination.
expanding settlement. Blending practices old and new, men mold materials domestic and foreign to the purposes of a growing community.
Ah, they gotta update
It is
windows.
no longer merely a few dugouts and bark wigwams. Dwellings have improved.
It's the village from the Muppet Show in the Navy
An
number.
outpost of settlers has become an established village.
Concept
New
art for
buildings,
Disney's America.
New people, new and increased activity.
There was no hero quite like Gallivant.
It has brought a code of established law.
Yeah,
It has
Salem,
brought the
famous for its
stocks and
reasonable
pillory for
laws.
those who would break the law. As newcomers have established themselves in the village, the older settlers have joined with them in many community tasks.
This is the old-fashioned way to brew Monster Energy drinks.
Here's Susan Fox, whose little boy was so ill.
Yeah, how's her
is
boy
helping
doing
some
now?
recent arrivals to prepare a kettle of soap.
Mmm, delicious
The
soap.
ingredients she uses are animal fat and lye prepared from wood ashes.
Plus a dash of cilantro to make it taste right.
Out in one of the new clearings near the settlement, John Fox is giving another newcomer a lesson corn planting.
In a sandbox?
Following the Indian method, he uses fish for fertilizer.
And below the fish is Luca Brasi.
Now he takes the carefully saved seed corn to place on top of the soil covering the fish.
And it grows into a beanstalk to reach the land of the giants.
It is a manner of planting the savages
Oh, boy.
have taught us, and a good one.
Yeah, almost like they're smarter than you, like they're not so savage.
Planting in England. There'll be many new ways to be learned. Many.
This is a really detailed Stardew Valley
Yes, there are
walkthrough.
new ways to be learned in this new land.
Here we play with construction paper
The
Christmas
changes in the
trees.
community, however, have made but little difference to Robert Trent.
Robert Plant's in
Although
this?
many of
Where's
the
Jimmy
fish he
Page?
catches and dries are now shipped to England.
Where they will be cooked into a stew.
Digging for clams.
Now he's
along
just
the
reading
shore
Tinder
is
profiles.
still a task for the children. This is a task that children enjoy.
Kids love
and one
labor.
Which is very important to settlers who still must wrest their food directly from land and sea.
Ooh, add this to my pod collection.
Food must be taken from shore and from field, from lake and from stream.
And stolen from ducks.
And there's game to be had in the forests, too.
The most dangerous game.
John Fox has learned well the paths of the nearby forests, which harbor many turkeys but recently brought from abroad.
But how many turkeys? We need a man who can guess the volume. And he's attacked from the side by another turkey. Clever girl.
In the gardens of the settlement, medicinal herbs are grown.
Far out,
Some of local origin and others transplanted from England. Mistress Lane, who is skilled in their preparation and use,
Spends her day sabotaging
supervises
Master
the
Kent
selection
at
to be
Ye
used
Old
in a
Daily
special
Planet.
broth. Later, she carries her preparation to a case of serious illness in the home of Harold Perry.
Harold Perry White, Mistress Lane's
Here's
boss.
a draught of herbs, fresh brew for Mistress Perry.
'Tis most hearty and welcome, for the pain is still sharp.
Yeah, could you sound even more condescending?
Yes, there is still sickness, and there is still the helpfulness of neighbor toward neighbor.
There are still beautiful days in the
There has to be
neighborhood.
In a new land where the settlers face the uncertainties of a new way of life.
Who knows what people
Mrs.
will oppress
Perry
next?
knows that building a better world requires courage and faith. And these men writing back to England, they know that too.
Dear Penthouse Forum,
We are sorry to send back the ship without better lading, but there be much sickness among us, and many of our number lack strength to survive the winter's cold.
on the plus side, the annoying people
Yet,
are dying.
for the most, we remain of good heart and make what haste we can to build our plantation.
Yeah, I approve of that word.
Among
It's
our
not going to age
number,
horribly.
there be those of divers motives, some mainly prizing liberty of conscience, and some chiefly seeking worldly gain.
And some really just like
Yet
killing
we
people.
form one body politic, joined by common consent.
Well, common consent of the men. The women can just roll with it.
There is resolve and hope.
The naive
and
fools.
promise here where men still build. Here on a shore where men can say, we form one body politic.
And I'm sure
joined
Salem will
by
treat its
common
women fine
consent.
too. What could go wrong? They should put the EB Films globe outside Plymouth Plantation like the Universal Studios globes. Well, that concludes the look at the early settlers of New England. As a New England expat myself, I gotta say it didn't seem that accurate. Mostly due to the lack of Dunkin' Donuts on every corner. Maybe they just couldn't show them because of a rights issue. I would like to thank my patrons not only for their continued financial support, but also for joining me to brainstorm jokes for this riff in a few Patreon live streams. Yes, the community came together to make jokes, which is kind of like making soap, but instead of cleaning away at the grime, it just laughs at it. Sometimes that's all you can do. I know the early settlers weren't the best role models in a lot of ways. Probably not in most ways. But if they could take care of each other through hard times, we can do the same. But like, we can do it better, you know? We can do it without throwing any other groups under the bus, okay? No dismissal of anyone else as savages or burning witches at the stake, you know what I mean? Cool. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to absolutely not follow up at all on the fate of a sick child. So until next time, this is Dave, signing off.